The Last Guardian. One of those games that had so much hype, but didn't quite land for everyone when it came out. I mean, this game was in development forever. It was first announced back in 2009, and people were excited because it came from the same team behind ICO and Shadow of the Colossus. Two absolute classics. But by the time it finally released in 2016, it felt like the gaming world had moved on, and the expectations were sky high. The controversy with The Last Guardian mainly came down to its controls, and the AI for Trico, the giant bird dog creature that's basically your companion throughout the game. Trico is central to the whole experience, and players were supposed to bond with it. But here's the thing. Trico is stubborn. It doesn't always listen to your commands, which frustrated a lot of people. Some players were like, why isn't this thing doing what I want it to do? But if you think about it, that's kind of the point. Trico isn't just a tool or a simple AI. It's meant to feel like a living creature with its own personality, and sometimes that means being a little unpredictable. Another thing people struggled with was the camera and controls. They felt a bit clunky and dated, which made navigating the beautifully crafted world more challenging than it should have been. In an era where gamers expect smooth controls, this was a big sticking point for a lot of folks. But if you could get past that, there's something magical about the game. The bond between the boy and Trico, it's incredible. Layers of fear. You know, if you're into psychological horror, this is one of those games that really stands out. I played it recently, and honestly, it's less about the typical jump scares and more about this creeping, unsettling tension that builds as you go through it. The atmosphere? It's pretty insane. Like, every room you enter feels like it's alive, and not in a good way. You'll be walking down a hallway, thinking everything's fine, and then the whole place shifts. It messes with your head in the best way possible. What I really appreciate is how it leans into the idea of being more of an interactive art piece than a traditional horror game. The whole thing centers around an artist, so the world you explore is very surreal. It's like the environment itself is having a mental breakdown along with you. And the way the story unfolds, it's subtle. You're not spoon-fed anything, so there's a lot of piecing things together, which I kind of loved. It's not the longest game, but that works to its advantage. It never overstays its welcome. You go through it at a good pace, and there are no filler moments. Every part of it feels intentional, which is refreshing. It's also one of those experiences where, when you finish, you kind of want to talk about it. Not just because you want to discuss the story, but because it feels like something you experienced, you know? It's immersive in that way. If I had to describe it, I'd say Layers of Fear is less about making you jump out of your seat and more about getting under your skin. It's the type of game that has this slow burn creepiness that builds over time. Alone in the Dark. It's not your typical action game. It's designed to make you think about your surroundings, your choices, and how you tackle obstacles. Puzzles are a big part of the fun here. They're clever without being overly complicated. They keep you engaged and make you feel like a genius when you figure things out. Combat is another element that stands out. It's not just about fighting. It's about staying calm under pressure and using the tools at your disposal wisely. The game does a great job of keeping you on your toes, but it never feels overwhelming. It's the kind of combat that rewards precision and quick thinking. And when you come out on top, you feel like you've truly earned it. What's really fun about Alone in the Dark is the way it balances tension and exploration. You'll find yourself inching through corridors or cautiously investigating new areas. But it's not all about fear. There's a genuine sense of curiosity that drives you to keep exploring. And let's talk about the pacing. Alone in the Dark knows how to keep things interesting. It has this great rhythm where it alternates between slower, more thoughtful moments and bursts of action or intensity. That ebb and flow keeps you engaged and makes every part of the game feel meaningful. The mechanics are solid too. The game gives you plenty of ways to interact with the world, and it feels intuitive without being overly simplistic. Whether you're managing your inventory, piecing together clues, or navigating through tricky encounters, everything feels polished and Darksiders 3. It's one of those games that brings back the classic hack-and-slash vibe, but with a modern twist. You play as Fury, one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, and man, she's got a serious attitude. I loved how her character is all about being fierce, independent, and, well, fiery. She's not here to play nice. What's cool is how Fury's abilities evolve as the game progresses. You start out with her whip, which is already pretty awesome for crowd control and long-range attacks. But then you get these elemental powers called hollows. They're like different forms Fury can take on, and each one changes her combat style. It's super fun to switch between them in the middle of a fight, mixing up your moves to keep things interesting. Plus, the design of these forms, just badass. You've got fire, storm, and all sorts of cool effects that look amazing in battle. The world design in Darksiders 3 is pretty unique too. It's not a huge open world like in Darksiders 2, but more interconnected levels with a lot of exploration. There's a Metroidvania feel to it, where you'll come across areas you can't access yet. And then later, when you've unlocked new powers, you can backtrack and find hidden secrets. It adds a nice layer of exploration without feeling overwhelming. The story is pretty solid too. It's not overly complicated, but it ties nicely into the whole Darksiders universe. Fury's journey is all about hunting down the 7 deadly sins. Rime. It's a beautifully crafted puzzle adventure that feels like stepping into a living painting. It's a game where exploration and curiosity take center stage, letting you wander through a mysterious island full of secrets and surprises. Every corner feels like it has a purpose, and the sense of discovery as you uncover what's next is one of the most rewarding aspects. The heart of the game lies in its puzzles. They're woven seamlessly into the environment, making you feel like part of the world rather than just solving tasks. From manipulating light and shadows to uncovering hidden paths, the puzzles encourage creative thinking. None of them feel overwhelming, but they always leave you with a sense of satisfaction when you figure them out. The island itself is a character in its own right. It has distinct areas that each feel unique, filled with ancient ruins, strange structures, and captivating landmarks that draw you in. You're not just walking through these places, you're interacting with them, moving pieces of the environment and uncovering hidden layers. The progression through these spaces feels smooth, almost like the island is revealing its story bit by bit through your actions. The companion system is a standout feature. The way your small guide helps you navigate the world feels organic and comforting. It's not just there to lead you from point A to point B. It enhances the experience, helping to bridge the connection between you and the environment. Rime is a work of art. Its stunning visuals, emotional depth, and beautiful puzzles. Lockdown Protocol. This game is all about trust, strategy, and a bit of paranoia. Because you never really know who's on your side. It's a social deduction game that's perfect for playing with friends, but also works well if you want to test your ability to figure out who's secretly working against you. You've got a group of people all trying to accomplish tasks in a high-stakes environment, but among you, there are some sneaky saboteurs. You're working together to finish your objectives, but there's always that feeling that someone might be messing things up behind the scenes. The game lets you play with anywhere between 3 to 8 players, and it's all about trying to outsmart the other team. Whether you're part of the crew or one of the dissidents, the crew's job is simple: keep things running and finish tasks. But the dissidents, they're there to ruin everything, without anyone noticing that they're the ones behind all the chaos. The catch is that they've got to blend in and act like they're on the same team, so the pressure's on. One of the coolest parts of Lockdown Protocol is the communication. This game leans hard into social interaction. You're constantly talking to the people around you, trying to convince them you're not the saboteur. Or maybe you are trying to deceive someone else. The game uses proximity chat. So, depending on where you are in the game world, you can hear others' conversations and plan your next move. It really cranks up the tension, and you'll be second-guessing everyone's intentions. The Thaumaturge. It's not just another RPG. It's a deep, thoughtful experience with a twist. The power of thaumaturgy. And no, that's not just a fancy word for magic. It's something way cooler. It's about tapping into forces that go beyond the natural world. Forces that are strange, powerful, and sometimes downright unsettling. As a thaumaturge, you have the unique ability to interact with these forces and summon beings called salators, creatures that are as fascinating as they are unpredictable. These aren't your standard fireball-throwing spells or sword-swinging summons. Salators feel alive, almost sentient, and they add this wild, untamed energy to everything you do. The gameplay is all about choices, how you use your powers, how you interact with the world, and how you deal with the situations thrown at you. And let me tell you, the game doesn't shy away from challenging you to think. Every decision feels meaningful, and the consequences, They're real. You'll quickly learn that being a thaumaturge isn't just about wielding power. It's about balancing it, understanding it, and sometimes fearing it. Combat in the game has this really unique flavor. It's tactical, but it's also personal. You're not just throwing attacks around willy-nilly. You're using your saluters in ways that feel strategic and, honestly, really clever. Each saluter has its own abilities and quirks, and figuring out how to use them effectively is like solving a puzzle during every battle. The Talos Principle 2. First off, if you played the first game, you'll know the vibe. If you didn't, no worries, you can jump right into this one without missing a beat, though playing the first one is absolutely worth it. The Talos Principle 2 takes everything the original did so well. Mind-bending puzzles, stunning environments, and thought-provoking storytelling, and cranks it up a notch. The puzzles are the star of the show here, and let me tell you, they're the perfect mix of I'm a genius, and why is my brain a potato? You'll be moving laser beams, toggling switches, and manipulating time in ways that make you feel like some kind of futuristic architect. And the best part? The game gives you the tools and the space to figure things out. There's no hand-holding, but it's never unfair. It's just you, your wits, and the occasional aha moment that feels like you just unlocked the secrets of the universe. But the puzzles aren't just puzzles. They're part of a bigger picture. This game is packed with layers, both in its gameplay and its story. As you wander through its breathtaking environments, and they are breathtaking, you start to piece together this intricate narrative about humanity, artificial intelligence, and what it means to be alive. It's deep, but in a way that sneaks up on you. Speaking of the world, let's just take a moment to appreciate how beautiful it is. The visuals in the Talos Principle 2 are stunning. There's this blend of ancient ruins, futuristic tech, and nature reclaiming everything that makes every area feel like a painting. Palworld. The game feels like a wild fusion of creativity, survival, and pure chaotic fun. It's a game that takes familiar ideas and flips them on their head, crafting a unique experience where you're building, battling, and bonding with these quirky creatures called pals. It's not just about collecting them, it's about finding clever ways to integrate them into every aspect of your journey. The core of the game revolves around teaming up with pals to survive and thrive in a sprawling open world. Each pal brings something unique to the table, whether it's combat skills, crafting abilities, or the sheer joy of watching them help with everyday tasks. They're not just companions, they're essential to how you tackle the challenges around you. From farming to fort building to full-blown firefights, pals aren't just along for the ride, they're active participants in everything you do. Combat is where the game gets delightfully chaotic. Pals are more than just support. They're part of the action. Whether you're wielding weapons alongside them or unleashing their special abilities, battles feel dynamic and unpredictable. The way the game combines ranged and melee mechanics with creature-based abilities adds a fresh twist to every encounter. Enemies don't feel like simple obstacles. They're opportunities to strategize and experiment with your team of pals. Palworld is a delightful mix of whimsy and survival, and it's worth every penny for the unique experience it offers. Overkill's The Walking Dead. Set in a world ravaged by the undead, this game isn't about running and guns blazing. It's about planning your moves, working with your team, and always keeping one eye on the hordes of walkers lurking around every corner. The heart of the game lies in its cooperative gameplay. Each character brings a unique set of skills to the table, and figuring out how to use those abilities together is key. Whether you're patching up your teammates, clearing out walkers, or setting traps to control the chaos, every role feels important. Success isn't about being the lone hero. It's about making sure everyone has each other's backs. Missions feel like tactical puzzles where improvisation is your greatest weapon. Supplies are scarce, walkers are everywhere, and danger is constant. You're scavenging for resources while trying to complete objectives, all while managing the ever-present threat of being overrun. The balance between stealth and combat keeps the gameplay dynamic. Sometimes it's about sneaking past a group of walkers without making a sound, and other times it's about standing your ground and surviving the onslaught. The tension in every mission is palpable. Supplies are never just lying around waiting to be picked up. They're often guarded by walkers or hidden in places that force you to take risks. Deciding when to push forward and when to retreat can mean the difference between success and failure. That constant need to weigh your options adds a layer of strategy that keeps every moment engaging. Lost in Random. The whole vibe of the game feels like something out of a Tim Burton movie. Dark, whimsical, and a little eerie in the best way possible. You're in this world where everything's controlled by a roll of the dice, and it's such a cool concept. The story follows this girl, Even, on a mission to save her sister, and you're guided by this living, walking dice named Dicey. Honestly, Dicey is adorable. He doesn't talk, but his little expressions and movements totally give him personality. It's like you've got this quirky, loyal sidekick helping you through this bizarre, unpredictable world. The world itself is broken up into these 6 different realms, each one based on the different sides of a dice. And I love how each area has its own distinct theme. One place might be all about war, while another is more peaceful, but with its own creepy twist. The variety keeps you on your toes, because you never know what kind of weird characters or challenges you're going to run into next. What I also love is that there's a lot of exploration and discovery. You're always finding new paths or hidden areas, and the world feels like this big, twisted maze. It's not just about going from point A to point B. You're encouraged to explore and take your time. The whole world feels so handcrafted. Like every corner has something weird or interesting to find. I think what I appreciate most about Lost in Random is how creative it is. The dice rolling, the card-based combat, the strange world, it's also original. Ghostwire Tokyo. Imagine a bustling, neon-lit city suddenly shrouded in eerie silence. The streets are empty, save for the ghostly apparitions roaming about, and you're the only one standing between them and complete chaos. That's the vibe here, and it's as intriguing as it sounds. You're essentially a modern-day exorcist, wielding a mix of elemental powers and ancient techniques to take on spirits, yokai, and all sorts of paranormal weirdness. But don't think of it as just a spooky game. It's more like an action-packed, ghost-busting extravaganza, with a healthy dose of Japanese folklore woven into its core. Combat in this game is unlike anything else. You're not swinging swords or shooting guns. Instead, you're performing intricate hand gestures that unleash elemental attacks. Think fireballs, wind slashes, and water blasts, all executed in a way that feels so fluid and satisfying. Each move has a purpose, and figuring out the right combination to deal with different enemies is a huge part of the fun. And let me tell you, ripping out a ghost's core with your bare hands never gets old. The enemies you face are just as fascinating as the combat itself. These aren't your run-of-the-mill ghosts. They're uniquely designed, each with their own creepy yet mesmerizing look. From faceless office workers to towering umbrella spirits, every encounter feels like you're stepping into a dark folklore tale. And because they all behave differently, you're constantly switching up your strategy. Hellpoint. This game is like if Dark Souls took a hard left turn into a sci-fi horror movie, and I mean that in the best possible way. Hellpoint takes place on a derelict space station called Iridnovo, and let me tell you, this place is the stuff of nightmares. Honestly, just walking around is an experience. 1 minute, you're admiring the architecture, and the next, you're screaming, because something lunged at you from the shadows. Classic. The combat is methodical and punishing, but not in a way that feels unfair. It's all about timing, positioning, and learning from your mistakes. And trust me, you will make mistakes. This is one of those games where dying isn't the end of the world. It's just part of the learning process. You'll respawn, take a deep breath, and try again. And when you finally beat that tough enemy, or make it through a particularly gnarly section, oh, the satisfaction. It's like winning a mini lottery. One of the coolest things about Hellpoint is how much freedom it gives you. There's no hand-holding here, which I know can sound intimidating, but it's actually really refreshing. The game just kind of says, here's this massive, creepy space station. Go figure it out. And you do. There's a real sense of discovery as you explore, find hidden pathways, and piece together the story. It's the kind of game where you'll stumble on a secret room or a shortcut and feel like an absolute genius. And the weapons? They're wild. You've got your standard melee weapons and ranged options, sure, but then you start finding the weird stuff, things that feel like they were ripped straight out of a mad scientist's lab. Trek to Yomi, a game that takes you on a samurai journey like no other. You're stepping into the sandals of a samurai, navigating a world filled with challenges, duels, and a deep sense of purpose. It's not just about the combat, though that's a huge part of it. It's also about exploration and how you immerse yourself in this journey. The game balances action with a sense of calm. giving you moments to breathe before diving into another intense encounter. The combat is sharp, literally and figuratively. Every swing of your sword is precise, and the game really rewards you for mastering the art of timing and positioning. It's not about mashing buttons or rushing in. It's about reading your opponent, anticipating their moves, and delivering that perfect counterstrike. When you land a clean hit, it feels incredible, like you've truly earned it. But it's not just about fighting. Trek to Yomi has these moments where you'll find yourself taking in the world around you, noticing the smaller details, and appreciating the balance between the chaos of battle and the tranquility of the journey. Whether you're navigating through a quiet village or facing off against a new foe, there's always something to keep you on your toes. It's not just about flashy moves or endless enemies. It's about discipline, focus, and respecting the craft of the warrior. Everything you do, from exploring to fighting, feels intentional and grounded in that philosophy. Artistic is the best way to describe Trek to Yomi. Until Dawn Remake. What makes Until Dawn so unique is that you're the one guiding the story. Every choice you make, every little decision, has a real impact on what happens to these characters. And in this remake, those intense moments feel even more vivid and polished. One of my favorite things about Until Dawn is how it feels like you're in a horror movie, but you're the one calling the shots. You're constantly making these choices, sometimes tiny, sometimes huge, and they all add up in ways you don't expect. It's the kind of game where you second-guess every choice, wondering if you did the right thing or just doomed someone. The remake brings even more of that suspense, and the character movements and expressions feel way more lifelike, so you're fully sucked into every tense moment. The characters are all really fleshed out too. Each one has their own quirks, personalities, and flaws, and you can actually feel the chemistry between them. It's like hanging out with a group of friends who have a shared past, and sometimes you have to decide who you want to trust or protect. The writing and performances feel even sharper here, making you care about these characters and root for them, while at the same time, you're totally nervous for them. The Until Dawn remake is one of those games that'll keep you glued to the screen. It's not just about surviving the night, it's about making choices you can stand by, or maybe ones you regret later. It's intense, thrilling, and incredibly satisfying, and it'll definitely keep you coming back for more. V Rising. So, right off the bat, you start as a weakened vampire who's just woken up after a long slumber. Your first goal? Rebuild your power, avoid sunlight, and, of course, drink a little blood along the way. The survival elements here are a unique twist, since they're all woven around classic vampire lore. Staying out of the sun isn't just an aesthetic choice. Sunlight will literally kill you in seconds if you're caught out. So every move you make is strategic. You're ducking between shadows, planning your hunts at night, and it gives the whole game this great layer of tension. It's rare for a game to make you feel so vulnerable as a powerful vampire, but V Rising pulls it off in such a clever way. There are forests, eerie castles, haunted villages, and a lot of places just begging to be explored. And it's not just about sightseeing. As you explore, you're gathering resources and materials to build up your very own castle. Yes, you get to build your vampire lair. This becomes your home base. And you can customize it however you like, filling it with coffins, crafting stations, and all the gothic decor you can dream up. The castle building aspect adds this fun, creative twist to the game. Combat is another area where V Rising really shines. It's not just hack and slash. There's actually a lot of skill involved. You have a range of vampire abilities you can unlock, like dashing around enemies, summoning dark magic, or even transforming into different forms. It's fast-paced and feels super satisfying. Call of the Sea. If you're in the mood for something a little different, something vibrant, mysterious, and dripping with heart, this game should be on your radar. It's not about high-octane action or gritty battles. Nope. This is a game that invites you to slow down, soak in the scenery, and get lost in a beautifully crafted story. The premise of Call of the Sea is pretty simple, yet totally intriguing. You play as Nora, a woman searching for her missing husband on a strange, uncharted island. But here's the twist. This island isn't just any island. It's bursting with mystery and an air of otherworldly magic. From the moment you arrive, you know you're in for something special. As you delve deeper, you'll encounter ruins, puzzles, and little details that hint at something much bigger and a bit stranger than you might expect. And let me tell you, the puzzles in this game are so satisfying. They're challenging enough to make you think, but never so frustrating that you feel stuck for hours. It's the kind of game that rewards you for paying attention to your surroundings. Every little detail, an engraving on a rock, a piece of paper tucked away in a corner, could be the key to solving the next puzzle. And when you do figure it out, it's such a rewarding moment. What I really love about Call of the Sea is how unique it feels. It's not trying to be a blockbuster game or follow any trends. Instead, it carves out its own little niche as a thoughtful, beautiful, and emotionally resonant adventure. It's a game that reminds you why you love exploring new worlds. Sonic Forces. This game is like a turbocharged joyride through Sonic's world, packed with all the speed and excitement you'd expect. The levels are a blast to zip through, full of twists, loops, and obstacles that keep your heart pounding and your thumbs busy. It nails that feeling of going super fast while dodging everything in your path, which is what Sonic's all about. One of the coolest parts is making your own custom character. You get to pick how they look, what they wear, and even what abilities they bring to the table. Having your own little hero running alongside Sonic and his crew adds a fresh twist that keeps the gameplay feeling new and fun. It's like building your own Sonic squad. The gameplay mixes things up nicely. You bounce between speedy 3D stages where momentum is king, classic 2D levels that hit all the nostalgia buttons, and the custom characters sections, which lean more into cool gadgets and combat. Switching it up like this keeps every level feeling different and keeps boredom far away. Boss battles are a great change of pace too. They're fast and a little tricky, but never frustrating. You have to figure out when to strike and when to dodge, which adds a bit of strategy to the high-speed chaos. It's like the game hits the perfect balance between action and challenge without making you want to throw the controller. The visuals are bright and full of energy, just like the gameplay. One Piece World Seeker. This game takes the wild, adventurous spirit of the One Piece universe and throws it into an open-world action adventure that feels tailor-made for fans and newcomers alike. You step into the sandals of Luffy, and let's be real, being a stretchy, punchy pirate has never felt this good in a video game. What immediately stands out is how the game gives you total freedom to explore its vibrant island setting. As Luffy, you're zipping through the skies, slinging yourself from buildings, and leaping across landscapes with an energy that screams adventure. The movement is fluid, and the game gives you the tools to make exploration an absolute joy. It's not just about getting from point A to point B. It's about having a blast along the way. Combat feels uniquely Luffy, with his iconic rubber-powered moves taking center stage. The game encourages you to mix things up, using ranged punches, close-quarters brawling, and some truly satisfying special attacks. It's not just about smashing buttons, but finding creative ways to take on enemies, and really leaning into Luffy's unique abilities. Whether you're clearing out groups of foes or taking on tougher opponents, every encounter feels dynamic and fresh. The open-world design invites curiosity. The island is packed with interesting locations to discover, each with its own quirks and secrets. There's a real sense of adventure here, where you're encouraged to explore at your own pace. It's not just about the main objectives. It's about soaking in the world and seeing what's tucked away in its corners. Meet Your Maker. It's all about creating, raiding, and outsmarting others in a world where creativity and strategy collide. At its core, it's a builder versus raider experience, where you're constantly flipping between two roles, crafting devious outposts filled with traps and defending them, or breaking into someone else's lair to try to steal their treasure. The building aspect is where the game really lets you shine. You're not just slapping down walls and calling it a day. You're designing a fortress of chaos, a labyrinth of traps and guards that's meant to stop anyone brave or foolish, enough to try and break in. The tools you're given are simple to use, but allow for some seriously complex designs. It's all about creating a death trap that's both fair and fiendishly clever, watching other players fall into your carefully laid plans. On the flip side, raiding is where the adrenaline kicks in. Breaking into someone else's outpost is a high-stakes puzzle. You're analyzing their defenses, figuring out how to navigate the traps and enemies they've placed, and deciding whether to go in guns blazing or take a more cautious approach. Every raid feels different because you're up against the creativity of another player. There's this constant push and pull of, how do I outsmart them without falling into their traps? What makes Meet Your Maker so special is the balance between these two modes. You're not just building for the sake of building or raiding for the sake of raiding. Each mode feeds into the other. The Dark Pictures Man of Medan. The game is all about choices and consequences. You're guiding a group of characters through a series of harrowing situations, and what you do, or don't do, can completely change how things play out. Every dialogue choice, every QuickTime event, every exploration moment has weight, shaping not just the events, but the relationships between the characters. It's a masterclass in making you care about every little thing you do. Exploration is a key part of the experience. You're moving through eerie, detailed environments, searching for clues, and piecing together bits of a larger puzzle. It knows how to create a sense of unease, where every shadow feels like it's hiding something, and every sound makes you pause for just a second longer. It's not about jump scares. It's about building an atmosphere that keeps you leaning forward, completely immersed in what's happening. The game shines in its focus on player interaction. The QuickTime events keep you on your toes, challenging your reflexes and decision-making under pressure. You're never just watching events unfold. You're actively involved, shaping the outcomes with every button press. What makes Man of Medan stand out is how it handles multiplayer. You can play the entire game solo, but the option to experience it with a friend in co-op mode adds a whole new layer of fun. Sharing the tension, making decisions together, or arguing about them, and reacting to twists in real time is an experience that feels unique to this game. Elite Dangerous. If you've ever dreamed of exploring the galaxy, flying your own spaceship, or just drifting through the vastness of space with nothing but stars around you, this game is pretty much the ultimate playground. So, here's the deal. You start off as a pilot in this massive open universe with your own little ship. And what you do from there is entirely up to you. Want to become a trader, hopping between planets to make a fortune? Go for it. Feel like taking up bounty hunting and chasing down some space criminals? You can do that too. Or maybe you just want to be an explorer, mapping out the farthest reaches of the galaxy. There's a real sense of freedom here that's incredibly satisfying. No one's telling you where to go or what to do. Your journey is 100% yours. One of the things that really makes Elite Dangerous special is just how massive it feels. And I mean massive. The game's universe is modeled after our real Milky Way galaxy, so there are literally billions of star systems to explore. If that sounds mind-blowing, that's because it is. You're out there discovering star systems, planets, nebulae. It's a space nerd's dream. And even though it's a simulation, it feels surprisingly immersive. Flying in Elite Dangerous feels so realistic too. The controls are complex, but deeply rewarding once you get the hang of them. You're controlling pitch, yaw, speed, and even stuff like heat management. It's intense, and it gives you that sense of, yes, I'm actually piloting this thing. Saints Row. This isn't the kind of experience where you sit back and take things too seriously. No, this is all about diving headfirst into a chaotic playground where the rules are made to be broken, bent, or outright ignored. The first thing you'll notice is how much freedom you have. It's not just a game about completing missions. It's about how you do it. Do you go in with an arsenal of creative tools, causing as much mayhem as possible? Or do you try something completely off the wall just because you can? The game doesn't judge. It celebrates whatever ridiculous choices you make, and that's the beauty of it. Customization in Saints Row is a joy in itself. Whether it's your character, your vehicles, or even your weaponry, the game gives you the tools to express yourself in the most outrageous ways possible. Want to rock a look that screams chaos? Go for it. Need a ride that looks like it belongs in another dimension? You can do that too. The sky's the limit. And the game encourages you to embrace your wildest ideas. The gameplay is all about variety. One moment you're in a high-speed chase that feels like an action movie on steroids, and the next you're doing something so over the top that you'll have to pause just to laugh at the sheer absurdity. And the missions, they don't hold back. Each one feels like a new, overblown adventure designed to surprise you at every turn. Combat is where the game flexes its creativity. Sure, you've got your standard tools of destruction, but then there's everything else. Little Hope. It's a part of the Dark Pictures Anthology, which means you're in for a cinematic, choice-driven adventure where every decision you make carries weight. Little Hope is all about putting you in control of a group of characters as they navigate a series of increasingly strange and spine-tingling situations. But this isn't just about surviving, it's about figuring things out. It's like the game wants you to put on your detective hat while simultaneously making sure you're on edge the entire time. Every step forward feels like peeling back a layer of mystery, and trust me, it's not always what you expect. Every dialogue option, every quick decision, and even the times when you hesitate all matter. The game is basically keeping score, and your decisions ripple through the story in ways that can catch you off guard. It's not just about staying alive, it's about shaping the narrative in real time. And yes, that can lead to some wild, unpredictable outcomes. Whether it's a life or death moment or just something small that changes the dynamic between characters, you'll find yourself gripping your controller like your life depends on it. The game keeps you on your toes, making sure you're always paying attention. Miss a single beat, and things can take a dramatic turn. But that's part of the fun, right? One of the coolest things about Little Hope is how it encourages replayability. It's like the game is daring you to go back and make different choices just to see what would happen. What if you'd sided with someone else? What if you'd acted differently during a tense moment? Every playthrough feels fresh. Extinction, a game that's all about epic, fast-paced battles against massive foes. This one throws you into a world where towering ogres, called Raveni, are stomping around, threatening everything in their path. Your job? To take them down in the most stylish and exhilarating way possible. The combat in Extinction is the heart of the experience, and it feels uniquely satisfying. You're equipped with speed, agility, and a sword that can slice through just about anything. The key is learning how to use those tools effectively, especially when you're up against foes who are dozens of times your size. These aren't your typical enemies. They're hulking giants with armor to break through, weak points to exploit, and strategies you'll need to master. Traversal is a big part of the fun. You're zipping through the air, running up walls, and leaping onto the Raveni themselves. It's all about finding that perfect moment to strike, whether it's severing a limb to slow them down or building up to a spectacular finishing blow. The movement feels fluid and dynamic, keeping you constantly in motion as you adapt to the chaos unfolding around you. There's a sense of urgency to every encounter. The Raveni are wreaking havoc, and it's up to you to protect the people and the towns they're targeting. You're not just fighting for survival, you're fighting to save what's left of humanity. That adds a layer of pressure to the gameplay, making every battle feel impactful and rewarding when you succeed. Redfall. It's an open-world game, but instead of sprawling wilderness or massive cities, it's all about this eerie, abandoned town with so much personality. You are dropped into the town of Redfall, which has been overrun by vampires. And let's just say they've turned the once charming town into a creepy, yet oddly beautiful dystopia. It's a shooter at its core, but it's not just about mowing down enemies, although there's plenty of that too. The game gives you freedom to approach situations your way. Want to go guns blazing? Do it. Prefer sneaking around and picking enemies off one by one? Totally an option. It's all about playing how you want, and the tools you're given make it so satisfying. And those tools? Let's just say Redfall is big on variety. Each character has unique abilities that add some serious flair to the gameplay. Whether it's summoning a spectral elevator, yes really, or using telekinesis to toss enemies around, there's always something cool up your sleeve. It's like mixing supernatural powers with a good old-fashioned arsenal of weapons. Speaking of weapons, the game has some ridiculously fun ones to use. Stake launchers, UV beams, and other vamp-slaying tools feel inventive and impactful. Now, if you're a fan of co-op games, this is where Redfall becomes a must-play. You can team up with friends, each picking a different character with unique skills, and create absolute chaos together. It's one of those games where you'll find yourself yelling, "Wait, check this out." Chernobylite 2. This game dives straight into survival, strategy, and exploration in one of the most iconic and mysterious locations imagined, the Chernobyl Exclusion Zone. It's all about managing resources, building your base, and facing challenges in a world full of danger and opportunity. You'll spend a lot of time scavenging for resources, which are scattered across the zone. It's not just random junk. Everything you pick up has a purpose, from crafting tools and weapons to upgrading your equipment and base. There's a constant sense of progress as you gather materials and put them to use. Managing your inventory and deciding what's worth carrying is a key part of the experience. The base building system lets you create a space that suits your playstyle. You're not just slapping walls and furniture together. Every decision matters. You'll set up workstations for crafting, create storage areas, and even manage the morale of your crew. Exploration is a huge part of the game, with the zone offering a mix of eerie, abandoned areas and hidden surprises. Every corner has the potential for discovery, whether it's useful resources, interesting locations, or unexpected encounters. The zone isn't static either. Things change over time, and new challenges or opportunities might arise depending on your actions. Combat is intense and tactical, requiring you to think on your feet. You'll need to balance stealth and firepower, deciding when to engage and when to avoid a fight altogether. RoboCop Rogue City. This game doesn't just let you step into RoboCop's metallic boots. It puts you smack in the middle of a dystopian Detroit, where crime is rampant, and justice is served with a firm robotic hand. And trust me, it's a blast. Playing as this half-man, half-machine powerhouse feels exactly how you'd hope. He's methodical, intimidating, and an unstoppable force of justice. The game does an excellent job of making you feel like an armored tank, but not in a way that makes things too easy. Sure, you're powerful, but you're not invincible, and that balance keeps the gameplay engaging. Speaking of gameplay, it's a mix of first-person shooting, exploration, and some light detective work. The combat is where the game truly shines. RoboCop's iconic Auto 9 pistol feels as powerful as it looks, and taking down waves of criminals with pinpoint accuracy is incredibly satisfying. The game leans into that slow, deliberate pacing that comes with being a walking tank. You're not sprinting or diving into cover like in other shooters. Instead, you're stomping forward, taking calculated shots, and soaking up damage like a futuristic juggernaut. It's a refreshing change of pace that feels distinctly RoboCop. The enemies are varied enough to keep you on your toes, from low-level thugs to more heavily armed foes. It also gives you moments to slow down and dig into the world around you. There are side missions and investigations that let you flex RoboCop's detective abilities. Metaphor, Refantatio. Step into a world where fantasy meets reality in a tale of political intrigue, personal growth, and magical transformations. Set in the United Kingdom of Uchronia, a realm mirroring our own, the story unfolds after the assassination of the king, leading to a power vacuum and a quest for a new monarch. The protagonist, Will, an orphaned boy from the Eldar tribe, embarks on a journey to lift the curse placed upon the kingdom's lost prince, all while navigating a society rife with discrimination and societal divisions. At its core, the game introduces the archetype system, a unique feature where characters manifest abilities based on their inner fears and insecurities. These archetypes serve as both a job system and a reflection of personal growth, allowing characters to evolve and adapt as they confront their inner demons. This system adds depth to the gameplay, offering players a chance to explore various facets of their characters' personalities and abilities. The narrative delves into themes of anxiety, societal expectations, and the dissonance between idealism and reality. Characters grapple with their own fears and aspirations, leading to a story that is both fantastical and deeply human. This exploration of personal and societal challenges provides a rich backdrop for the game's events. Neon White, a game that feels like it was custom-built to blow your mind in the coolest, most stylish way possible. This isn't your typical first-person experience. It's like speedrunning, parkour, and deck building got together, had a brainstorming session, and created something truly unique. Here's the deal. Neon White is all about speed and precision. The game challenges you to blaze through beautifully designed levels as fast as you can, pulling off incredible stunts along the way. But it's not just about running. This is a game of strategy, too. Instead of traditional weapons, you're working with soul cards, which double as both guns and movement abilities. For example, you might have a card that's a pistol, but also lets you do a double jump if you discard it. Figuring out when to shoot and when to use those movement abilities is the secret sauce that makes this game so addictive. And let me tell you, the levels in Neon White, they're like handcrafted puzzles designed to mess with your head. In the best way. Every stage feels like a playground where the developers are daring you to figure out the fastest route. Sure, you can go from point A to point B like a normal player, But the real fun is in discovering shortcuts, nailing perfect jumps, and optimizing every second of your run. The moment you realize you can shave a few milliseconds off your time, chef's kiss. The gameplay loop here is genius. You'll find yourself constantly replaying levels, not because you have to, but because you want to. Risk of Rain 2. This is a roguelike, yes, but calling it just a roguelike feels like calling a thunderstorm a bit of rain. It's an ever-escalating frenzy of action, strategy, and pure unpredictability that keeps you glued to the screen, run after glorious run. You're dropped onto strange alien planets, teeming with enemies that start out manageable, until they're not. Each run begins as a tense exploration, where you gather items, power up, and prepare for what's next. But here's the kicker. The longer you survive, the harder things get. It's not a gradual curve. It's more like, oh, you're doing well? Let's see how you handle this. It's frantic, chaotic, and exactly what makes this game such a rush. Every time you pick up an item, you're adding a new twist to how you play. Maybe you've got a healing drone buzzing around to keep you alive. Or maybe you've stacked enough speed boosts to outrun your own shadow. The combinations are endless, and every run feels fresh, because no two builds are ever quite the same. And the characters? Each one plays completely differently. Whether you're firing precise shots from afar, brawling up close, or zipping around like a hyperactive space ninja, there's a survivor that fits your vibe. But the real fun? Figuring out how to make each one shine with the right items. You'll constantly discover new ways to turn a decent character into an unstoppable force of destruction. But the real charm of Risk of Rain 2 is in its unpredictability. GTFO, a game that doesn't just ask you to work as a team. It demands it, like your survival depends on it. Spoiler, it totally does. This is a hardcore co-op shooter that throws you and 3 friends, or brave strangers, into the most intense underground nightmare you can imagine. And it's all about thinking on your feet, communicating, and staying calm when things inevitably go sideways. Imagine being dropped into a labyrinth of claustrophobic corridors, where every corner hides danger, and every decision feels like life or death. Your goal is simple: complete objectives, and make it out alive. Simple, sure, but not easy. The game thrives on tension, keeping you constantly on edge as you strategize, sneak, and fight your way through environments that seem to want you dead. But let's be real. The heart of this game is the teamwork. You're not just playing alongside your squad, you're relying on them. Every mission demands coordination. Who's carrying the gear? Who's got the sentry turret? Who's watching the rear? And when it comes time to deal with the horrifying enemies lurking in the dark, communication is key. You can't just run in guns blazing unless you want a swift and brutal end. Stealth, precision, and timing are your best friends. And when things get loud, because they will, you'd better have a plan. The game gives you an arsenal to play with. But it's not just about picking your favorite weapon and calling it a day. You've got to think strategically. Every tool, from motion sensors to deployable turrets, has a purpose. Dreams. It's a game about creation, exploration, and discovering just how far you can push your own ideas, or dive into the genius of others. What sets Dreams apart is its ability to let you do practically anything. You can create your own games, design stunning worlds, or even craft intricate animations. The tools are surprisingly intuitive, designed to be accessible no matter your skill level. It doesn't matter if you've never dabbled in game design before. Dreams gently guides you, making the process feel both exciting and approachable. Playing in the Dreamyverse is where the magic really kicks off. This is the hub where players share their creations, and it's like opening an endless treasure chest of experiences. You never know what you'll find. Quirky little platformers, deeply emotional narratives, wild experiments, or even hilarious minigames. Every corner of the Dreamyverse feels like a surprise waiting to unfold, and it's all powered by the creativity of the community. The beauty of Dreams lies in how it connects people. One person's creative spark can inspire another's masterpiece. You can collaborate, remix someone else's creation, or just lose yourself exploring what others have made. It's a constant flow of ideas, where the act of sharing and experiencing feels just as rewarding as creating something yourself. Even if building isn't your thing, Dreams still offers so much to enjoy. The curated content is incredible, showcasing just how diverse and talented the community is. Armored Core 6. It's all about piloting a massive, customizable mech and unleashing mayhem in a way that feels precise, intense, and deeply satisfying. The thrill comes from balancing raw firepower, nimble movement, and strategic thinking, creating an experience that's as rewarding as it is exhilarating. Customization is the heart of this game. Every part of your mech can be tweaked, swapped, or optimized to match your playstyle. Whether you're loading up with heavy weaponry for maximum destruction or fine-tuning for agility and quick strikes, the possibilities feel endless. It's not just about choosing gear, it's about crafting a machine that feels uniquely yours, one bolt and a circuit at a time. Combat is a dance of destruction. You're not just piloting a mech, you're commanding a war machine that can jump, dodge, and unleash devastating attacks in a fluid, kinetic way. The controls feel tight and responsive, making every encounter feel like a test of skill and strategy. Enemies are varied and challenging, requiring you to think on your feet and adapt quickly. It's a perfect blend of chaos and precision, where victory feels earned and every skirmish keeps you engaged. The arenas are designed to push your abilities to the limit. From tight spaces that demand precision to open battlegrounds that test your maneuverability, each environment feels like it's made to challenge your mech-building skills and combat instincts. Subnautica. This game is a total gem for anyone who loves exploration, survival, and a hint of mystery. You start out stranded on an alien ocean planet. There's this incredible mix of wonder and tension as you explore. It's like the game is always pushing you to go a little bit deeper, a little bit further, just to see what's out there. One of the things I absolutely love about Subnautica is how it nails the feeling of discovery. The ocean is vast and filled with all sorts of creatures, plants, and places that are as beautiful as they are mysterious. Every time you dive, you're uncovering new things that make you feel like a real explorer. And even though it's underwater, the world feels so alive. From shallow coral reefs that are bright and colorful to the darker, deeper zones that get way more intimidating. It's all crafted with so much detail. You've got to manage your oxygen, food, water. It's challenging, but in a way that feels fair and really keeps you on your toes. There's something so satisfying about scavenging for resources, crafting equipment, and upgrading your gear as you go. Slowly building up your tools to explore deeper and farther feels super rewarding. It's like every small success is a huge win, and you get this incredible sense of progress. And the creatures? They're incredible. Some are friendly, just minding their own business, but others? Well, let's just say there are a few surprises in the deep that make your heart race. The game does this brilliant job of making you feel small, like you're just one tiny part. Hi-Fi Rush. It's the kind of game that feels like an electric jolt of energy from start to finish. It's all about rhythm, creativity, and a relentless sense of fun. Imagine a world where everything, movement, combat, and even the environment syncs up to a beat. That's the magic of this game. It's not just about playing. It's about feeling like you're part of a live performance that you control. The combat is an absolute standout. Every punch, kick, and combo you unleash flows perfectly with the rhythm, making fights feel like a dance you're conducting. The game doesn't just let you attack enemies. It turns every battle into a chance to express yourself. Timing is key, and when you hit that perfect rhythm, it feels like you're in complete harmony with the game. You're not just fighting, you're performing, and it's exhilarating. The gameplay keeps things fresh by throwing new challenges your way. It's not just about mastering the rhythm in combat. It's about learning how to adapt that rhythm to different situations. Whether you're dealing with tricky enemies, environmental hazards, or clever puzzles, the game always keeps you on your toes. It's the kind of experience that pushes you to keep improving, but it never feels frustrating. Every success feels earned, and every failure just makes you want to dive back in for another try. Hi-Fi Rush is pure, unfiltered fun, wrapped in a rhythm-based action package. Every dollar spent on this game feels like a note in a perfect melody. Reveal. Imagine stepping into a mysterious atmospheric carnival with all its uncanny charm, but with just the right dash of horror. That's Reveal, an exploration-heavy psychological thriller that has you questioning reality and your own sense of direction from the first step. What's great about Reveal is how it doesn't just hand you a story, it slowly unravels one, piece by piece, while keeping you on edge. The game has this captivating way of drawing you in with puzzles and clues, letting you uncover bits of the story at your own pace. It's all about discovery, and you're never sure what's waiting around the next corner. The narrative feels like a mystery you're dying to solve, but it's also unsettling enough to make you hesitate. There's something almost nostalgic about exploring these rundown carnival grounds. It's creepy but familiar, like a strange childhood memory you'd almost forgotten. Revell doesn't just throw easy challenges at you. It's got puzzles that require you to think, explore, and sometimes double back. But they're the good kind of puzzles, the ones that make you feel clever for solving them. You might need to pay attention to the tiniest details, or remember something you saw in a completely different area, which adds a layer of satisfaction when you piece it together. It's not just about clicking things until they work. It's about truly engaging with the environment and letting the story unfold through your interactions. Every location feels crafted to add to the story. Solstice. The first thing that jumps out about Solstice is its characters. You play as Briar and her sister Lute, who aren't your usual duo. They're bonded together as a chimera, which gives them insane powers. It's such a cool concept because they're essentially two halves of one powerful warrior, each bringing something unique to the fight. Briar is the muscle, swinging around massive weapons and smashing enemies, while Lute is more like a ghostly support, casting spells and holding enemies back with her powers. Their connection gives the gameplay this awesome twist. It's not just about button mashing, but balancing the abilities of both sisters to pull off some crazy combos. Combat is one of Solstice's biggest highlights, hands down. It's fast-paced, fluid, and makes you feel like an absolute force of nature. There's this beautiful rhythm to it, where you're chaining together attacks and figuring out which enemies need Briar's brute strength, and which ones require a little finesse with Lute's support. It's challenging in the best way, because you have to constantly switch between the two sisters' abilities to keep up with the enemies that come at you. One of my favorite things about Solstice is that it's not just pure action all the time. There's a real depth to the story, and to the bond between Briar and Lute. The game actually digs into their relationship, and it's really touching how they work together and depend on each other. Their bond is what keeps them strong, and it adds a layer of heart to all the chaos around them. Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. If you've played the original, you already know how special it is. But this remake, it somehow takes that emotional journey and makes it even more impactful. The core of the game remains the same. You're controlling two brothers on a quest to save their father. But the visual and gameplay enhancements in the remake make it feel even more immersive and engaging. The puzzles and challenges you face along the way are simple, but satisfying. Most of them revolve around using the brothers' different abilities. The older brother is stronger, while the younger one is more agile. But what makes them interesting is how they force you to think about the brothers as a team. One of the standout features of Brothers is its unique control scheme, where you control both brothers simultaneously using one controller. It sounds tricky at first, but you quickly get the hang of it, and it's such a clever way to tell this story. The older brother is controlled with one thumbstick, and the younger brother with the other, which creates this sense of connection between them. You're not just watching their bond. You're physically controlling it, which makes the emotional beats hit even harder. What I love about this game is how it tells its story without using any real dialogue. Everything is conveyed through body language, facial expressions, and the way the brothers interact with the world. It's so effective, and it proves that you don't need tons of exposition to tell a deeply emotional story. You're not just playing a game, you're living through these brothers' journey. Echo. This is one of those games that feels like it was crafted in some strange secret lab, where the only rule was, let's make something nobody's ever seen before. Imagine you're in this opulent, endless palace, like picture a space-age Versailles. It's pristine, beautiful, but also eerie. You're playing as N, someone who's just arrived in this surreal, otherworldly structure. But the kicker? The palace learns from you. Yeah, it watches what you do, takes notes, and then uses your own tactics against you. Think about that for a second. Let me give you an example. Say you're sneaking around, trying to avoid being spotted, and you decide to play it cool. Stick to the shadows, avoid unnecessary risks. Well, the palace is watching. It sees you being all stealthy and thinks, sneaking seems like a good idea. Now, suddenly, the enemies start sneaking around too. But maybe you're more of a run-and-gun type. If you sprint and blast your way through, guess what? The palace learns that too. And now you're dealing with enemies that sprint and blast you. The entire gameplay revolves around this dynamic. And it's genius. Every few minutes, the palace resets, like hitting a giant refresh button. And the rules of engagement completely change. Maybe it's aggressive now, maybe it's passive. It keeps you constantly on your toes, second-guessing every single move you make. What's really cool is how it makes you question your own strategies. It's like the game is saying, okay, you can do whatever you want. But are you sure you're ready to face yourself?